Three, two, one. Good evening, everyone. We are here for one more live of the first Fortnight Festival in preparation to the next year. And I'm here with the amazing Mark Whelan. How are you, Mark? Everything fine?
Everything's great, Maisa. Happy to be talking to you and be putting together the program for My Story, My Song on January 17th. Excited.
That is amazing. We are really excited to do that. So we will having a talk about Mark. So get to your tea or your wine or anything and join us right now. Mark, for the people that don't know you, tell us about you, what you do, where you are right now, because it's really sunny and really beautiful there.
I'm in Julian in California. So it's about an hour outside of San Diego in Southern California, up in the mountains. So it's nice and crisp and cold, but still sunny, as you can probably see a little bit. And I mean, it's been pretty warm in California where I live now over the last while, but it's nice to be a little bit chilly to remind me of what Christmas is really like in Dublin, where I'm of course from. So that's where I am right now. And having a lovely time here. And a little bit about me. Well, I've got a passion for music and a passion for mental health. I started to put together My Story, My Song about 3 years ago. So this will be the fourth year of the event. I'd followed the work of First Fortnight for a number of years, ever since it started, because I really felt, both through working in the music industry a little bit myself, but also knowing a lot of musicians, that there is a stigma around mental health there, as there is everywhere. And I am passionate about music and believe in kind of music holds a lot of power to comfort people, to motivate people, to help people, to for people to commune around. And the mission of First Fortnight just really resonated with me. And then one day, I think I literally just walked into the office and said, "Hey, I love what you do. Can I help somehow?" And at the time, I was just getting a small side business off the ground, which is called Vinyl and Wine, which is sort of a monthly music listening party that I run in Dublin. I think the folks there said, "Hey, why don't you try and maybe apply some of what you've been working on with Vinyl and Wine to First Fortnight and maybe put together a concept for an event," which is what led to My Story, My Song. So they're kind of my outlets for my passions for music and mental health. And I also work for a company called HubSpot, which is very supportive of this other work I do and something that I learn a lot from, and I'm delighted to be working for as well.
That's amazing. And your passion for music, it started in a young age. It was an event. Like, how that started?
Well, you know what? It was December 8th, a few days ago, which is the anniversary of John Lennon dying. And my dad texted me from Dublin saying that he spent the whole day listening to John Lennon music, and that when he listens to John Lennon, he often thinks of me, which was a sweet thing to say. And I responded and I said, hearing A Day in the Life, the closing track of Sgt. Pepper's Lonely Hearts Club Band, in his car as a kid changed my life. It changed my music interest, and it gave me a direction in which to kind of orient myself when it comes to my love for music, a place to put it. And just all through my kind of early teenage years, I was just obsessed with the Beatles and Bob Dylan, 60s music. I still am. And I love a lot of modern music as well. A lot of music coming out of Ireland right now has been the kind of soundtrack to my 2020. So that was how that passion was first ignited. And it's showing no signs of dissipating.
That's amazing. And the first contact that you had with First Fortnight, it was this meeting that you entered in, or you had in festivals before that?
Yeah, so I had, first things first, I had my undergraduate degree is in psychology. So I kind of had a long-standing interest in psychology and in mental health. I encountered some mental health challenges of my own. I had issues with anxiety for a number of years, which I learned a lot about, I learned a lot from, and have learned at least how to manage it over the last 10 years or so. So these things gave me kind of a strong interest and a strong passion. And I just saw like a lot of people that I knew personally seemed to be struggling with similar things, but didn't really have the didn't quite have the language to communicate. And that was always one of the hardest things, is like, sometimes we focus on, you need someone, you should talk about it, and like, you should seek out people to talk to. And I think that's, of course, absolutely invaluable. But sometimes even knowing how to articulate what you're feeling could be a challenge. And I think that's where like the stigma part comes in, because I think that the more people just open up and speak about how they felt in a very raw way, I think it nearly gives us all the words to use to better understand what we're going through, and make it easier to take those sort of early steps and speak up a little bit. So that was sort of a strong kind of interest of mine, still is. And I still think that's something that there's a lot of work to be done on. And I volunteered with another mental health charity called Aware in Ireland for a number of years. And I like learned a lot through that, of course, and had a great experience there. I ended up working for Aware for some time. And then First Fortnight, with its mission, which was focused a little more on the arts, really resonated really strongly with me. Because I think that the vulnerability creators bring to their craft, I think nearly creates space or gives permission for the listeners to match that vulnerability in a way, or to kind of give something that can really resonate or speak to something that you're going through, particularly if it's a difficult thing. So that mission was just really hit home for me. And about 4 years ago was when I had my first sort of conversations about getting involved.
That's amazing. Sorry.
That's
so okay. The My Story, My Song, what that's about, how it works, how it presents itself.
Mm-hmm. So it's a pretty simple format. There are 10 artists on the bill each year, and I invite each artist up one at a time, and I sit down on a stage with them. It'll be a virtual stage, of course, on January 17th next year.
Yeah.
And I ask them to play a song for us, a cover of a song, so not an original song, although we have had a couple of originals played over the years. Play a song that has helped you through a difficult time, or that you associate with the difficult time, or coming through something. And before they play that song, we have a little conversation about why they chose that song, and about how it relates to their relationship with their own mental health or a particularly difficult time. So we have the conversation, and then they perform the song, and then that's the format, and it's 10 artists. And I mean, we've been just incredibly lucky to have phenomenal artists join us over the last 3 years. Ross Breen, Bad Hands, Tandem Felix, Maria Kelly, Emma Langford. Like, there's just so many fantastic artists that we've had, and expect to have again next year. And it's just really created some very moving performances, and really kind of beautiful and brave storytelling from the artists who have been keen and willing to share their own experiences, so that others can maybe learn from it, or offer support, or just feel empathy. And it's really created a beautiful atmosphere on each of the events over the last 3 years. And the thinking behind it is really that by creating space and inviting people to specifically talk about challenging times, that those in the audience may feel motivated to do so themselves, and maybe prompted to reach out to a friend, or speak up themselves, whatever the case might be. So that's sort of the thinking behind it. There's definitely a lot of laughs each year along the way, couple of tears too. It's a really fun night, and something I feel very lucky to be able to help out with.
That's amazing. That's really amazing. I went there last year. It was incredible. It was really emotional. So it's a great fun. So let's get into the vibe of the event. If you could choose any artist, living or dead, to add to lineup, like the perfect artist, who did you choose?
Oh,
and
my
why,
goodness.
of course.
What a question. What a question. I mean, I think that living or dead,
Any artist, like you don't need to be like invite him, just
Sure.
like the perfect choose.
Sure. Okay. Well, a couple of people came to mind straight away there. Frank Ocean came to mind. I
Wow.
listen to his music a
That would be
lot.
amazing.
He's also like the one artist that I've never seen live that, I just want to see. So it would be like a selfish thing and like an excuse to like actually see him perform. Um, he comes to mind. Great Irish Nilo, who I've been listening to a lot recently. His songs are beautiful and really open. It really opens up through art about some of his own journey, which is amazing. But I think if I had to choose one, I think Joni Mitchell would have to
Wow.
be the one. I mean, I'm a huge fan of hers. I love all of her albums, and I often kind of recall the story of the first time she ever played "A Case of You," which is on her great album Blue, and an incredibly moving, raw, gorgeous song. Um, and there's this great story about when she first played that for I think for David Crosby, and she played this gorgeous song, and then his heart sank, or he just seemed to like drop as he was hearing the song, and he said, and she thought, does he not like it? Does he not like the lyrics? Is it the tune he doesn't like? What's going on here? Thought it was pretty good, and he says, Joni, you have to keep something for yourself. And it was that idea that she was just pouring everything in her into this one song. And he kind of called upon her to like just save that little bit that you don't put out into the world as a raw nerve. And I think it really speaks to what appeals to me. And I think a lot of people about her music is just how generous she is in her songwriting, and how brave she is when it comes to just being vulnerable about the rawest of emotions, the most complex of feelings. And I mean, the idea of having her participate in My Story, My Song is, I mean, something to aim for, right?
Exactly. Yeah, definitely. And if you could like I what's the song that helped you through tough times? What will be
Mm.
your song?
Okay, that's a wonderful question. Um, so when I think of the artists that help me, it often comes down to two Franks, Frank Ocean and Frank Sinatra. And they're often for kind of different reasons. So when I feel like I need to pick myself up a little bit, I often go to Frank Sinatra and I listen to songs like That's Life, which almost has this sort of like wry sense of humor about it, just about how life can really throw you curveballs and can really twist you up. And that's sort of part of the game we all play. And it's quite uplifting. I find it a little bit humorous. And I mean, I think he's just a great interpreter of songs. So um, Frank Sinatra in those scenarios, and probably That's Life. And with Frank Ocean, I'll often go to when I kind of like feel like I need to like wrap a warm blanket around myself and just
Yeah.
calm myself down, comfort myself a little bit. And his music and his voice just do that to me, like no other. And there's a song off his most recent album, Blonde, called Solo, which is the
Oh,
fifth song in the album, and that's one I go to a lot. It's yeah, it's about a lot of things, but it's that idea of just being there's sort of a beauty in solitude there. Um, and there's also kind of a longing for connection there as well. And I mean, I just adore that song, and I think there's many interpretations you can have for it. But I would say That's Life by Frank Sinatra when I need to pick myself up, and Solo by Frank Ocean when I need to maybe comfort or calm myself a little bit.
couldn't agree more. It's two amazing songs, really, really nice. So, just be tricky questions. Can you give us some spoiler of the lineup of this year, like the 17th of January?
Spoilers. We have a few great artists confirmed. I will say we're putting together the
Mm.
program at the moment. There's Okay, I'll give you one hint. I
Mm.
have mentioned one of the artists that's on the bill. I have already mentioned in our conversation. So, I mean,
Okay.
I think I've mentioned a lot of exciting artists, so hopefully that gets people keen to grab a ticket and sign up. But I'll hold back on revealing the full lineup until it's all confirmed. But I do encourage everyone who's listening and interested to know to keep a very close eye on the First Fortnight Facebook page and Instagram page and Twitter account, where those details will be shared. I want to say in the next week or so, we should have the full lineup ready, and we'll reveal it all at one go. So yeah, keep your eye out there. But I can tell you, it's really exciting, and this year, has been just so full of challenges for so many people. We can talk about that more if you want to, Maisa. But
yeah, that will be my next question, actually. What
great.
means to you being in this mental health festival in this year that was so crazy, so atypical?
Yeah, well, I mean, we plenty to share on that front. But one of the benefits of the event being virtual this year is that we can have artists from kind of anywhere, and it's so I just encourage anyone who knows someone who you think would be good on the bill to please reach out to First Fortnight or reach out to me directly, because we are still putting that bill together. And even if they're not based in Ireland, then it would still be great, because I mean, mental health issues don't respect boundaries. They're not specific to one type of person or one territory. So the opportunity to make the event international is a pretty nice one. But to get back to your question, Maisa, around how does it feel to put in the Together event in this year? Well, I mean, I think there's just been so many layers to the challenges people have faced this year. There's just like I suppose the most direct one is like the loss of life that we have all been exposed to through the coronavirus, and people have lost loved ones, of course, and even those who have been lucky enough to not lose loved ones, there has just been an exposure to that sense of loss, this sort of sense of nearly national or international or global mourning, for nearly a full year, which is traumatic. And then there's the more slightly more abstract things around just like the loss of routine, which I think can really impact people's mental health. There's of course been the loss of livelihood. A lot of people have lost their jobs and been furloughed, which both has, of course, financial implications, fulfillment implications, but also just mental health implications too. So, I mean, the challenges of this year have been multi-layered, and it feels like coming together in January as we are across the First Fortnight Festival just feels like the festival has never been more important for people. It's never been more important to really tackle the stigma around mental health, create space and give people permission to speak about their challenges, break down the barriers that have existed and have been built up and maintained for, generations around these topics. So it feels like it's never been more important. And the specific focus on the arts, I think, is also really pertinent this year because, I think the pandemic has really brought to light just how undervalued artists are, and in my opinion, and I think in the opinion of a lot of other people as well, and that like many artists are the ones who have been among the hardest hit, with the loss of like live music and even the challenges of like getting into a studio or like meeting your collaborators, whatever the case might be. That has been like a real challenge for artists. And yet you look around you and I don't know how many times I've seen people say like, oh, what's really getting me through this? It's like this great album or like this great book, or people are turning to art to sustain them. And it just feels really paradoxical to me that, when times are at their toughest, as they have been over the last year, people are turning to art to sustain them. And so they should. And that's what I do. And that's what I think is incredibly powerful about it. And yet those very people who are creating this art that's sort of sustaining so many people are um, are undervalued by, I suppose, like governments and things like that, in terms of the support they're getting. So I think it's really brought into sharp focus just how grateful we all should be to the creators that surround us and provide us with solace when we need it most. And we should champion them. We should support them on things like Patreon and Bandcamp Fridays, and put our money where
Definitely.
our mouth is where we can, and thank them. And I think this first fortnight is a great celebration of that. And I think my story and my song will be a great celebration of 10 fantastic artists that are coming through with great performances and a lot of bravery and vulnerability too, for the benefit of others.
Definitely. And we'll show people that they are not alone. So we are here. We are far from everyone, but we are still close. It's just getting together, everyone around. So to finish, like you said, we are going through tough times and people hold on musicians, on series, on books. So what are your recommendations to people? What you are following, some artists that you are, books that you are reading?
Okay. Well, the books I'm reading at the moment tend to skew a little bit towards fatherhood because I'm going to be a dad in a few months' time
Oh,
for the first time.
congratulations.
And that's giving me a lot of, it's giving me a lot of, it's filling me right up and getting me excited, and also giving me plenty of things to worry about and prepare myself for. So that's been a kind of an area of focus for me in terms of literature. Um, in terms of music, I mean, I said a little bit earlier, but like the artists I've been listening to, there's been a lot of really fantastic Irish artists I've been listening to this year. I mean, um, just last weekend, when Other Voices was on, I was watching it here from the house here in California, and it was just filled right up, tears in my eyes, listening to performances from the likes of Pillow Queens and Damien Dempsey and so many other fantastic artists, Alvaretti, like just absolutely amazing performances. And that Pillow Queens album has definitely been a highlight for me this year. I think the lyricism in that album is just beautiful and moving and empowering. And it's been a soundtrack to a lot of my kind of exercise and running, which is a big part of my own mental health regime. That's been great. I mean, I listen to the Blind Boy podcast quite a bit, and he's got some great episodes on mental health, which I think is good. And I think there's been good work done there on breaking down the stigma. I think Stephen James Smith's poetry is something I've gone back to quite a bit as well. And then just, yes, on Friday, Kid Cudi's new album came out, and
Okay.
I've been really enjoying listening to that. His first album came out in, I think, 2008, and there was a very strong focus on mental health and his own struggles and anxiety through that. And it's, to this day, one of the most powerful albums I've heard on that topic, and it certainly really resonated with me at that time in my life. So I've been dipping into his work as well ever since he released that new album a couple of days ago. So a few recommendations there. But I mean, like I said so many times, going back to my favorite albums and great artists has just been a real solace for me, as I've kind of navigated the challenges of the year in my own personal life. And yeah, just recommend folks comfort themselves with the art that is available to them as much as that's possible.
That's amazing, Mark. I can't thank you enough for this time and for sharing these things with us. And I want to invite everyone to go to the firstfortnight.ie website. We have the full program that we have the space to book. The tickets already are available. And as Mark said, we will be dropping news about the lineup and the other events too. So keep following the Facebook, the Instagram, the Twitter page. We are here to help if you want to send us some message. Another thing that I want to ask, like Mark said, it's a surprise, the lineup. So I want to see who do you think that will be go there here in the comments, please. Let's see if someone will get it right, right? And that's it. I
Let's
don't
see.
know if you have anything else to add, Mark.
Um, not a lot, just that the event is on January 17th. Tickets are selling pretty quickly already. I was very pleasantly surprised to see that before we've even announced the name. So encourage folks to go along, grab the ticket, secure their place. This year, people can pay whatever they feel comfortable paying as a reflection of the challenges we've had this year. Every single penny goes directly to First Fortnight. January 17th, 7:30 Dublin time. Really hope to see you there. And if there are artists watching or folks that know artists that may want to get involved, please reach out. Always keen to hear what we might be able to do together. So hope to see you all on January 17th.
That's amazing. So we are finishing here. Have a nice evening, a nice week, guys. Thank you so much. Bye-bye.